Hello everyone, Seraphin here. Welcome back for more Fire Emblem Path of Radiance. When I last left you guys, we were in the middle of the, looks like the keep, rather, of Dayan here. Keep of Nevassa, that being said. And we're doing our best to make it through as quick as we can, but this is a long and winding map, so it's going to take a little bit. Let's go ahead and get everybody moved up and ready to go, that being said. Actually, why don't we save Rayson for when we actually need him to move someone around. So, we didn't get very far into the keep in the last level, but I'm hoping we can make it a good deal further this map. We'll go ahead and see how that all turns out. Now that I have promoted sages, they should be a little easier to get around instead of having only god-awful, what, 5 movement? Ugh. 5 movement is just not good. Now, I think I've talked about the importance of movement before in previous installments. Suffice it to say that high movement is very important. I'll definitely give that to a lot of the more veteran and maybe somebody even consider elitist players of this series, but it's not everything. Wow, that was an amazing level up for her. Well done, madame, well done. I think she's only 10 off from capping speed and 11 off from capping magic. At level 2, pretty good. Alright, anyway, moving on. So, I'm not sure how much other Fire Emblem some of you guys actually watch. I'm gonna guess probably not very much if I'm one of the first you're seeing. That being said, there is a lot of other Fire Emblem people that I watch in my spare time for entertainment purposes, and because I like to get some insights from other players that are fans of the series and have been playing it for as long as I have. And a lot of the more seasoned players will put a lot of emphasis on movement speed. Not necessarily your attack speed, like your actual speed stat, but how many squares you can move. And to say that there's not an importance to that would be foolish, because of course there is. But I think a little bit too much emphasis gets placed on that. Now, granted, if you're trying to go for completing the game in as few turns as possible, obviously movement is what you want. But I'm going to go out on a limb and say the vast, vast majority of players don't play that way. I mean, if you want to, by all means, go right ahead. There's plenty of fun and interesting and challenging ways to play through a lot of these games. And if you feel like you need the little extra oomph, a little extra challenge to yourself, then by all means. But personally, I think having high movement is a luxury and a nice thing to have, but it is not essential. Which is why I'm a big proponent of armor knights, because they may not get around very quickly, but they're, generally speaking, incredibly difficult to kill, especially if they've got halfway decent resistance in addition to their defense, which, admittedly, most of them don't. Hey, look, a soul proc, nice. I think he crit, too, actually. It's kind of hard to tell, because the soul proc makes it look like it's a crit anyway. And he would have killed that guy without the crit, so, again, a little hard to tell. Anyway, but I like Paladins for a lot of the same reasons that I like most other units, in that they just all around are really good, but they have really good movement too, which is nice. Paladins are a great unit class, don't get me wrong. Are they the end-all, be-all, best unit class in the game? Well, I don't really think there is any way to determine what is the end-all, be-all, best class in the game. I really don't think there is any one class that is the best, simply because every class and every unit, indeed, has their own strengths and their own weaknesses. Jill, for example, is a fine example because while she's incredibly bulky, has incredibly fast movement, and is also really fast, generally speaking, her strength's supposed to be a lot better too, but she's weak to arrows, and her resistance is terrible. So, if bows don't kill her, because, let's say you've got, like, the full guard on, she can still get taken out by decent magic units, especially wind magic, which, again, the full guard negates, but full guard does not give her more resistance, so Pegasus Knights, not really that well known for dealing a lot of damage. They're very fast and very good at killing mages, and very fast movement, but again, a stray arrow takes them down, and they have a hard time killing anything with a respectable defense stat on it, so. And Armor Knights, as we all know, are just painfully slow. That's their thing. They don't get to double ever, usually, and they don't get around very quickly. That's their thing, but I honestly think some weaknesses are more easily overcome than others. It is my personal opinion that in the case of Armor Knights, their low speed really doesn't hinder them all that much. And she can't kill this guy in a single round. See, this is what I'm talking about. She's 1 point shy of killing this guy with a steel lance. Heavy spear? No, that's actually weaker. Well, I guess we can hope and pray for a critical hit here. We'll just go for this. Not gonna happen. But anyway, So, play the units that you like to use. If armor is your thing, in my case, or if fast mobility is your case, or, you know, strictly running with all mages is your thing, which, you know, sounds cool, but I can't personally recommend it. Play how you want, but make sure you have your weaknesses covered. Because if you roll with all mages, and then a bunch of swordmasters comes to town, you're going to be in a bad way. Let's put it that way. And you're not going to have a lot of fun. Let's go ahead and dance for Ileana since she's trailing behind a little tiny bit here. I did have her take out a guy right in front, so... But again, I'm a huge advocate of, like, as diverse of a team makeup as possible in terms of classes, because it allows them to cover each other's weaknesses. This guy, by the way, does move, the boss over here, so we gotta be careful of him. He has a Brave Lance, especially. That's not gonna be fun. I think Astrid's gonna be okay. 15 defense. And he's got 26 attacks, so he'll do 11 to her. Technically only 10 with triangle disadvantage. 10 twice. Yeah, she can take that. Put her right here. And give her a steel axe. She's got plenty of strength to negate its weight penalty. Plus nobody else can even hit her. Uh-oh, what does that guy have? Oh, it's a sleep staff. Oh, good. She dodged it. It's really hard to hit Pegasi with anything magical, especially status staves, because they just... resistance is so high. Status staves, I think I've talked about it once before. They're not strictly a hit-miss. They're actually based on your resistance as well as your... I think they're strictly based on your resistance, honestly. And then how far away they're using the staff on you. We cannot be beaten! Oh, I've been defeated, but I mustn't fall here. So this guy, yeah, that's a Brave Lance. We've seen that. Actually, we haven't seen what that can do yet, have we? Wow, she dodged them both. Nice. Oh, okay. She's hitting that guy a lot harder than I expected her to. His defense is not spectacular for a general, but he's got really good resistance to compensate, I think. And here we have some reinforcements consisting of fast people. Alright, well, you know what? Never mind. Soth's max level. Well, we don't need him to worry about killing anybody, but we're going to have him open this door. And there is a sage inside. Not overly threatening. Man, I think Mist can kill this guy, but I didn't give any weapons, so I guess she can't. Do I want Astrid to have the kill, or should I let Soren do it? You know, let Soren do it. Needs to stretch his legs a little bit here. Yeah, that's a goodbye. Unless by some miracle I miss him, and even then he doesn't kill me. I have a strangely bulky mage on me right now here. You're not yet oh, I've been defeated! Sorry, I don't know where it's some stupid meme I saw recently. This guy kind of goes down like a wuss. He doesn't really even have any memorable quotes. He's just like, I will fight for Dayan! Oh, I got my butt kicked. That's what happens. Oh, but really? All the good level up Soren's been getting, and now he gives me that? Ugh. Fine, be that way. Alright, I'll just have Astrid mow through this guy real quick. She's turning out to be really good. Honestly, I don't normally use Astrid. I've used her before, once upon a time, but I don't think she's ever turned out this good for me. I wish all my units turned out as good as Astrid did. Of course, nobody else has Paragon but her. That is a big deal. When you're able to train them up from level 1 and get them just as high as the rest of your guys in a very short order, yeah, it's awfully nice. I think there's one other unit in this game that comes with Paragon, and they're also a horse. Also on a horse, rather. Wow, there you go. That's pretty solid. More defense. 20 strength. Wow. It is not shabby at all. Alright, let's get Ike moving up here. And we need to deal with that bishop before they put my guys to sleep. But let's have Jill fly over here and take out this mage first. That's good enough. Woof. That's a lot of damage. Can this other guy reach me? No, he cannot. Okay, good. What about the sniper? The sniper can with a longbow, but yeah, he won't do any damage to me. So we'll just park Jill right here and hand axe this sorry sucker. I just realized I don't want to miss. Missing would be very bad right now. She needs to be healed. What was I thinking, not healing her before? Now, it's fortunate that this isn't Radiant Dawn, because in Radiant Dawn, thunder magic is super effective against wyverns, not wind. And in fact, wyverns in Radiant Dawn are not weak to bows, if you can believe it. I think the only installment in Fire Emblem history where a flying unit is not weak to bows. And I guess that's because they got wise to the idea that, well, they're wyverns, they're not frail Pegasi, they actually have tough armor scales, and they shouldn't really be weak to bows, honestly. So, in Radiant Dawn, they're not, and it's really nice. That guy's going to be in heal mode, so he's not going to go for me. Although I have Race in here transformed. So I can get some more guys moved up ahead a little bit. In fact, I can put somebody right where Marcia is. I'm going to put Boyd there, so I'm going to have Marcia go for the bishop here. Let's do that, and we'll stick some sword on them. I don't see any reason not to do that. Fairly well, Mr. Holy Man. You know, she's incredibly dodgy. I wish Marcia was better, because honestly, she's pretty solid from the mid-game and going ahead. And she's still usable in the end game, don't get me wrong, but I always seem to have an issue with her becoming less than spectacular toward the end of the game, and I don't end up usually using her in the final levels. Which, again, is disappointing because she's a really solid unit. And I think I can put Ilyana here, and Nephany here, and then have Race and Dance for all three of them, and then Mr. Oscar can take care of this soldier real quick. Again, I'm having my entire crew just use axes as much as possible. And another soul proc, even though he doesn't need it. Yeah, it's once Oscar starts getting a reasonable amount of skill and starts proccing soul all the time, he's nearly impossible to kill. It would be even better if I had a decent Kieran, and I actually supported the two of them together and kept them close together, because they both benefit greatly as far as their avoid stat is concerned from their support bonuses. And not only are the two nearly unhittable when they're together and have an A support, but yeah, they just heal up all the damage. Ooh, hammer. Perfect. Perfect time for it's hammer time! Stop. Sorry, I don't want to get copyright infringed here, although I don't sound anything like MC Hammer, so I sincerely doubt that's going to happen. Anyway, it is hammer time, and I delivered the hammer of justice. Or the ban hammer, if you want to put it that way. You know what, there's all sorts of different kinds of hammers we can deliver. Let's go ahead and get the crew moved up here. We're making pretty good progress, actually, as it's going a little quicker than I expected. Maybe I'm just used to this level taking forever for some reason. Alright, then we get Mist moved up as well. Could leave one of my mounted guys behind to grab Soth, but honestly, he moves almost as fast as a mounted unit. Because he's got 7 move, and the mountains have, what, 8? No, I guess they have 9, don't they? I'm not sure, I'll double check. I always forget if it's 8 or 9. No, you know what? It is 9, because everybody moves 1 square further than they normally do in this game. Compared to, like, the Game Boy Advance titles. Oh, jeez, I'm getting ambushed. Those are fighters and killer axe. Woof. Alright, let's deal with that. I think a killer bow is in order here. Zephyr work? Just enough. Look at that. Beautiful. Well, it's a little bit more than just enough. You know what I mean. I'm glad I saved this thing, even though it's supposed to be like my emergency weapon here. I guess this is an emergency. You don't want a warrior with a killer axe running around. You really don't want that. And that's another level for Miss Astrid. She's going to outpace all my guys at this rate. Nice, nice, not bad. And then we'll just leave her right there. And Soren can trade away her bow. Not away, but trade to a different weapon. And then just Elwind one of these poor suckers. Both have steel axes, so who cares? I might just leave Soren and Astrid back here as like my rear guard to protect me from getting ambushed. Crap, is that gonna kill him? Okay, well, yeah. It occurs to me that I didn't actually do the math on that. Nah, we're good. Now, if they go for Soren, he's only gonna hit once because his Elwind's about to break, but that's okay. We'll have Soth crack this open. Energy drop, spectacular. I love getting free stat boosting items. Let's have Ilyana heal up Jill while we're here. It's nearly a full heal. Beautiful. Again, why would you ever pick knives on your promoted sorcerers or your promoted sages? I don't understand why you'd ever want to do that. Alright, so we got a Swordmaster down here. 22% crit. These guys have 8%, but they're using iron blades. Those are notoriously not very accurate. And actually, they won't do any damage to Jill. So, even though she'll have triangle disadvantage, we're going to go ahead and park her down here. And kind of go to town on these suckers. I think Steel Axe should be good enough. Although I kind of want the extra accuracy from Hellswath. But you know what, we'll stick with the Killer Axe for now. Sorry, not the Killer Axe, the Steel Axe. I think she should be fine. I do want her to get some more strength. I might actually use that energy drop I just picked up on Jill to get her back up to a number that I'm more happy with as far as her strength stat is concerned. She might end up recovering that on her own. She still has, well, she's got enough levels to grow, but unless she gets at every single level, she won't cap it like I want her to. But we'll see how that goes. I've only got so many stat boosters, and I don't want to end up wasting them. I should just break my stupid Dauntless Lance eventually, right? Now let's just take this guy out, the silver one. I'll save that for when I can land a single poke and kill someone. Nephene's strength cap is pretty low. It's like 25, I think, so even though she's not the strongest person in my group, she will cap out pretty quickly. Yeah, she needs like 9 more strength. I think she'll make it. We'll see. She'll definitely cap speed and skill any minute because her growths in those are both ridiculous. Alright, we gotta get Ike down here as quick as we can because there's a reason for that. Now let's move Mist up as well. And Oscar. And we'll just have Marsha fly over this way with the rest of the crew. Now we do a wonderful bird song right in the center of my guys here. Isn't that amazing? God, man, herons in this game are so good. They make regular dancers look awful by comparison. That really is disappointing, because dancers are incredible in every game they're in, for every reason. But herons just, so good. Although I think I mentioned, dancers in FE4, Genealogy of the Holy War, they always do the dance for everyone around them automatically, all the time. Although dancers in that game are just, like, really, they have terrible movement, and they have their stats are awful, and various other oh, shoot, is that a sleep staff? Oh, thank goodness she dodged it. Okay. Sleep is really bad. I don't know if it's as bad in this game as in Radiant Dawn, but in Radiant Dawn, if you get put to sleep, your avoid becomes 0. So if you're one of those folks that relies on being able to dodge to avoid getting killed, and you get put to sleep, yeah, you might as well just kiss your butt goodbye. And unfortunately, that has happened to me more times than I'd care to admit. I don't think it's as bad in this game. I think if you get put to sleep in this game, you retain your ability to dodge, but you can't counterattack, obviously, because you're asleep. But I think you still, for some random reason, have the ability to get out of the way. I know it makes more sense that you can't get out of the way when you're asleep, because you're asleep, but it's so debilitating if you get hit with it. If you've got a frontline unit that's a little fragile and also doesn't have great resistance, and you get put to sleep, you're just dead. Unless you have a restore staff nearby, but you generally obviously you get put to sleep on the enemy phase, and if their frontline guys haven't acted yet, she didn't get strength. She didn't get anything. She got HP, that was it. Come on, Jill. You're better than this. I know you're better than this. I've seen how monstrous you've gotten in my other playthroughs. That's a crit, but it's not going to do anything. Tink! Sucker. She is doubling Sword Masters for what it's worth. Although I think it's only because that Iron Blade weighs too much. And it's slowing that guy down substantially. So it is amusing to watch her double Sword Masters. She needs to shore up her strength stat. I don't know why it's so bad. Normally it's like one of her best stats. 16's not awful, to bear in mind, because Nephene's got 16 strength as well, and she's making do, but I would like her to have more, and for all intents and purposes, she should have more. She is better than this. So that guy's got a sleep staff. I should probably keep Jill out of the way, but at the same time I have to press forward, so I'll don't we go ahead and pick this guy off? Actually, Soren, you know, Soren actually needs the experience more than Astrid does, considering she's got freaking Paragon. There's more fighters on the way. I'll keep her around and in distance to reinforce, but I don't need to keep her right next to him. And that's going to be a dead fighter. It's a very flashy effect, that Elwind spell, isn't it? You know, I don't take the time to sit and appreciate just how good the animations are in this game. If you think these ones are good, wait till Radiant Dawn, because, whew, the animation quality and just the overall, how that game looks, it's absolutely breathtaking. It's gorgeous. That's probably part of the reason why it's my favorite one. Not only that, but it has my favorite gameplay in the series. But we'll talk about that when we get there. But suffice to say, it's an absolutely gorgeous game, and I cannot wait to play that one. Alright, why don't we... she does not have a restore staff. That is a problem. And I don't have anybody with boon. There is a skill that some units get that automatically cures status conditions. People next to them, but nobody I have has that. And Mist doesn't have restore, so that's going to be an issue. Potentially. I wish I could get in and hit that stupid guy, but sadly that is not going to be possible. I'm gonna move Jill back over this way. I don't want her getting ambushed and wrecked. So we'll send Marsha up here instead. And maybe we'll send Nephany down there with her. Sounds like a decent plan. And why not? We'll bring a healer too. We gotta bring Ilyana. We'll send the girl squad over here. Or not the teen girl squad necessarily, but if you guys understand that reference, then you are amazing. Alright, let's do another bird song. And I think I'm just gonna park Boyd right in the way here and let him go to town on these suckers. Sounds like a decent plan. What do you guys think? You can't respond because you're not here right now. I'm not gonna lie, sometimes it feels weird talking to myself in my office while I record all these. I know somebody's out there listening, but it's just a little strange at the time when I do them. Alright. And you know what? We'll park... Oh, can he hit that archer from there? Yes, he can. I was worried if the stairway was going to count for not adjacent, because sometimes that happens. But apparently it's right on the ledge there, so it's good enough. Just slap that guy in the face with a giant sword. Wait till he gets a silver blade. Things like bigger than he is, and he just wields it around with one hand like he's just... Like he's... I don't even know, like he's the Hulk or something. It's ridiculous. You know, let's just clobber through this guy too. I don't see any reason to let them come to us. Might as well just take him out. More soul procs, everybody. That was not a crit, just a regular old soul, but that's fine. Not that he needs it, yet again, because nobody can hit Oscar, apparently. Not that I'm complaining, mind you. That'll come in a lot of handy later on. Put him up here. Get Mist into range as well. So inside the room, we've got a Swordmaster, we got a couple of mages, some generals, Mr. Sleepstaff over here that is really starting to get on my nerves. Don't you dare... Oh, good, he dodged again. Or she dodged, rather. He just missed. And you may have noticed that particular general there has a different color armor than the other two, and there's a reason for that I haven't talked about yet, because I forgot. But we'll talk about that in a second here. Fighters are moving up. I think we're going to get more reinforcements soon. Anyway, these two general schmucks are different colored because this guy has his own name. This is Toronio, and he's got an occult scroll. Nice, I forgot about that. As you might imagine, because he has a name and a portrait, he is a recruitable enemy, and we recruit him with Ike. So let's go ahead and do that. Why are you staring at me like that? Toronio, by the way, is really cool. I actually like him quite a bit. He's a little bland in this game, but in the next one after this, he's incredible. I have one question for you. Who taught you to fight? An old friend of his taught him how to fight. So he knows Ike's father, apparently. How is the old goat? Toronio's like, wait, who the crap could have possibly killed him? Black Knight, huh? So yeah, Toronio apparently knows a lot more about this than he's aware of, or Ike that Ike's aware of. So he won't fight us because he doesn't want Gawain's swordsmanship to disappear. Are you sane? Yes, very much so. So Toronio has been, or actually he used to be a rider, one of the 4 riders of Dayan, but he was stripped of his post and replaced once Ashnard came to power. He's still like a high-ranking Dayan soldier, but he's no longer one of the highest-ranking generals. And we get a Dayan general on our side now. It's kind of reminiscent of like Hannibal from FE4, or there's a number of examples of that throughout the series. So Toronio, he's alright. He's a pre-promoted general, level 14. Very high level, so he doesn't have a lot of room to grow. His strength and his defense are good. 22 strength's very good. 22's defense, it's pretty solid. Not as high as Jill, or as high as Gatry would be if he was at this point, or even Braum, really. 13 speed's not fantastic, but it's usually enough to prevent him from getting doubled by people. 14 res, very solid, especially for an Armor Knight. So magic has a hard time taking him down, too. 11 magic, kind of inconsequential, although he can use swords and he has A rank in them. So he could use that Storm Sword we have right off the bat and do decent damage with it. The other thing, too, he's got a very nice skill called Resolve. This is arguably one of the best skills in the game. Whenever you're below half health, it increases strength, skill, and speed by 50%. I think. It might just double it. I actually remember how much the increase is. I think it's 50%. So suffice to say, he goes up to like 33 strength and what, 20 speed, maybe 19 speed. But yeah, he just turns into a wrecking ball. And I'm not actually sure what the increase is, but it's very substantial, and it gives him a lot of staying power. And I think we get a scroll for this later on that we can actually give to somebody. And a very popular combo for this game during the end game is Wrath and Resolve together. Excuse me. So that when you get below half health, not only are you stronger and faster and easier to hit stuff, but you also have massively increased critical hit rate and you just mow through people. So I think that's a common strategy for Ike during the end game for the final boss. Especially on hard mode, because the final boss is much more difficult in hard mode than on regular difficulty. Anyway, Toronio's alright. We're probably not going to use him only because these pre-promotes in this game generally aren't anywhere near as good. It's a general concept that pre-promotes aren't as good as ones that you put time and effort into. Unfortunately for Toronio, he's a pretty prime example of that. If we had bothered to train... we kind of did train Gatry, really, but... If we bothered to train Gatry more, or even Braum, both of them would be pretty much vastly superior to him, so... It's not that I don't like Toronio, but again, he's much better in the sequel to this game as opposed to this one. We can go ahead and see him in action real quick, though, just so you can get a look at a general in action. I will say the sword animation for generals is weird in this game. I don't know why they lift a leg up like that, that seems really stupid. You would want to have proper grounding with both feet when you swing a sword like that. I will say the animations in Radiant Dawn for generals are incredible. I feel like I'm just comparing how much better Radiant Dawn is to this one. That's actually not fair, because this game has a lot going for it that Radiant Dawn does not have. I like both of them independently for their own reasons. There's a lot I like about Path of Radiance that Radiant Dawn does not do, or doesn't do well enough, in my opinion, and there's a lot of things that I think Radiant Dawn does better. They're both very good games. I think Path of Radiance easily lands in my top 3. It's probably number 3. Maybe not. We'll see. I actually haven't bothered to take... I haven't really bothered to sit and rank which ones I think are the best in any particular order, other than I know Radiant Dawn is my favorite. Although that opinion might be slightly changing, having gone back and played most of these a lot recently. In fact, I'm playing through a couple that I've never played before. Most notably, some Japanese exclusive ones that I found English translations for. And those are proving to be incredibly entertaining. But we can talk about that maybe some other time. There's a lot to go over in that particular regard, and we just, quite frankly, don't have the time right now. Let's go ahead and heal up Boy just for kicks and grins, and to get some experience on Mist. Maybe one of these days I'll actually sit down and put a list together of which ones are the best in my opinion, and for what reasons. Sounds like something that I probably should do, just for my own sake, but maybe I'll post it up here too so you guys can get an idea. I wouldn't say take my word as gospel, of course, because I'm just one guy on the internet, but suffice to say I have been playing this series for, 17 years now. So I tend to think I have a pretty decent basis for forming a coherent opinion. But I guess if you don't think that's necessarily the case, you're welcome to disagree with me. Anyway, let's go ahead and clean up this turn so we can get moving on. Again, I'm hoping Jill can dodge that last sleep staff use. That would be perfect if she did. I actually think... I know I mentioned that wyverns are weak to lightning magic in Radiant Dawn, but I know dragons are also weak to lightning magic, and I think they still are in this one. So I think, if I'm not mistaken, Ilyana might be able to punch a decent hole in Ina up here. We'll have to wait and see, I suppose. She might be stronger than I remember her being. I usually remember having a lot of trouble with Ina at this point just because she's so freaking bulky. She's an absurd amount of defense and resistance, so she's a tough nut to crack. But we're going to have to see how that measures up here in a little bit. Alright, one more dodge. Can you do it? Nope, she's asleep. Alright, whatever. Well, Jill's not going anywhere for a while. Grab a Snickers. That's a really old campaign. Anyway, we'll go ahead and resume and finish this chapter off in the next episode. There's not much left to do. We just gotta loot some treasure, take out the last little boss room here, and clean up all the stragglers / reinforcements. So, look forward to seeing the conclusion of this map next episode. And thank you all for watching up to this point. I really do appreciate it. And feel free to subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and leave a like and a comment if you are so inclined. I would very much appreciate that as well. So until next time, this has been Seraphin. Stay classy, internets.